A high school teacher and a mom shoved her own 13-year-old in the back of her trunk because he had the COVID and she didn't want to catch it when she was driving him over to get tested. We actually have a copy of the criminal complaint. Here's what it looks like. You can see it's the state of Texas versus Sarah Hadassah Beam over from Houston, Texas. You can see felony charge endangering a child. Date prepared January 5th, 2022. And so she's already been arrested, already been released on bond, already been filed with the clerk of the court. And so we'll go through this story because people have a little bit of craziness in their bones as a result of this pandemic, don't they? Let's get some background here. We have a Seafair ISD teacher bonds out of jail after allegedly putting a 13-year-old in the trunk for fear of the exposure. Teacher was charged with endangering a child, since bonded out of jail after her 13-year-old son was found in the trunk of her car at a drive-through testing site. On Monday, it's not funny, he was in the trunk. Sarah Beam was reportedly taken into custody at 3 p.m. on Saturday, posted a $1,500 bond around 4:45 p.m. that same day. According to court documents, Beam pulled into a drive-through testing site located at Falcon Road when a witness reported hearing something in the trunk. A 13-year-old son. The witness said when Beam unlatched the trunk, the boy was found lying inside. So, oh my goodness. Let's take a look at the report. This is the criminal complaint. You can see here in the name and by authority of the state of Texas. Before me, the undersigned prosecutor this day appeared before me, the affiant, the police officer, who under oath says that they believe that all this took place in Texas, that this person, Sarah Hadassah Beam, hereafter called the defendant, on January 3rd did do something that recklessly engaged and endangered a child. They're calling the child KH because it is a child, and the child is under 15 years of age. And so many types of statutes exist to really criminalize people who are under the age of 18. So I don't practice law in Texas. I don't pretend to, but I know here in Arizona, we have a whole category of offenses called dangerous crimes against children. So if you're underage, it's a problem. If you're really underage, it's even a bigger problem. So you can see under 15 years of age, they have the same sort of categorization that we do, placing them in danger of imminent bodily injury, right? Having a child banging around in the back of a trunk, no safety belts back there, no airbags, not supposed to put children back there, by placing KH inside the trunk of a moving vehicle without any proper seating or safety restraints. The defendant did not voluntarily deliver the complainant a designated emergency infant care provider under Texas Family Code. So we can see this carries on. The government prosecutor is communicating with the affiant, who is somebody named Romero Jr. He is the police officer who's actually reporting on all of this. So he's with Cypress Banks with the police department. He's got reasons to believe that she was the person who did this, endangered a child within the location of Harris County, Texas. Why? Because on January 3rd, he, the officer, was dispatched over to Pridgeon Stadium, again located off of Falcon Road. When he got there, he met with a CFSID director over from Health Services, somebody named Gordon, hereinafter known as a witness. So Gordon, who I found to be reliable and somebody who's pretty credible as well, stated that while he was getting information from vehicles in line for testing, Gordon, she found a female driver, later identified as Sarah Beam, having her child with her in the trunk of her car. So Gordon is just walking all up and down the COVID testing line. Oh, here, what's your time's your appointment? What's your name? Give me your ID. Okay. And she hears this 13-year-old just banging around back there in the back of the trunk. Later identified as Sarah Beam. She has her child in the trunk. Gordon stated defendant confirmed that her son, KH, who is 13 years old, was in there. Gordon says, do you have a body or something in your trunk? And she says, yeah, it's my son. Well, why is your 13-year-old in there? Well, he tested positive for COVID, she says. Defendant stated that she put KH inside the trunk to prevent her from getting exposed to possible COVID while driving him over to the stadium for additional testing. It's not funny. There's a kid in the trunk. Witness stated that when she requested to see the child, defendant, meaning Sarah, had to unlatch the trunk of the vehicle in which the child was laying down inside the trunk. Had to open it. It was closed. Witness then informed the defendant. So Gordon says, you're not going to be getting a COVID test until that child is out of the back of the trunk, lady. Are you nuts? pull that kid, put him in the backseat of the vehicle, and then we'll test you. But we're not doing tests in the trunks, okay? Gordon stated that she then called the police, and when she returned to the vehicle, the child was in the backseat of the vehicle. Gordon calls the police and says, all right, listen, there's a crazy person here with their kid in the trunk. Witness, Gordon, provided the affiant with the defendant's license plate number and the date of birth, as well as child's name and date of birth. The affiant then cross-referenced all of that provided by the witness, found out that she's got records at being the school and being the guardian. Though during the investigation, officer went, checked out the school surveillance footage from the adjacent campus to view the moment that the child exited the trunk. So they go to the stadium, he goes to the school across the street, takes a look at the camera, and you can see, yeah, kid's coming out of the trunk. Gets into the back side of the vehicle on the passenger side. Officer says, oh my goodness, never seen this one before. Using defendant's information as provided by witness Gordon, deputies retrieved the defendant's driver's license, positively identified her as Sarah Beam, photographed here. Same driver who had driven the car, same person who put KH in the trunk back on January 3rd. Duly attested, signed off on by the assistant district attorney, A something or other, signed off on by Romero, and sworn in, submitted to the court on January 5th, 2020. So, that's a new one. Now, there's a lot of COVID hysteria going on there, but this is a new one. I mean, it is one way to quarantine, I suppose. The school has responded. According to C. Fair ISD Beam, most recently worked as a teacher over there, and has been employed by the district since 2011. She is now on administrative leave. They write, we were alerted a child was in the trunk of a car at a drive-through site earlier this week. Ugh. Law enforcement conducted a full investigation, resulting in a warrant for arrest. Thankfully, the child was not harmed. So they don't say anything. What are you going to do with this teacher? She's throwing her own 13-year-old in the back of the trunk, and he's clunking around all over there while he's sick with COVID.
A classroom feels to me like it should be an extension of my home.
How are things going in the classroom with some of the other students? We'll see. Yet another COVID madness case. COVID crimes. We predicted this a long time ago. Here they are. What do you have to say about it? Do you think that this woman should be charged with a felony? Do you think she should be continuing on as a teacher? Do you think that she should be shown a little bit of grace for this COVID hysteria? It's kind of gotten a lot of people every now and then. And so let me know down in the comments below. I would love it if you stuck around, subscribed, so we can continue to cover this story and many others. Leave us a like before you get out of here. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one.